Hello, my name is Anvu, and I'm doing my presentation topic on the multi-state outbreak of Salmonella enteritis infections linked to bean sprouts. Step 1. The background. So Salmonella enteritis is a bacterial infection that can cause symptoms like diarrhea, fever, abdominal cramps, and a lot more depending on the severity. There were a total of 115 people infected from 12 states. The source of the outbreak were contaminated bean sprouts from Wonton Foods Incorporated, based in New York. So on the picture to the right, we have a salmonella infection diagram showing the source, how salmonella progresses, the symptoms, and the treatment, which would be oral or injected antibiotics, usually for 2 weeks. Step 2. The current situation. So a strength was the collaboration of state, local, and federal public health agencies identified Wonton Foods Incorporated as the source of outbreak. A weakness was late intervention. 61 out of 85 people consumed bean sprouts during their week of infection. An opportunity is that the CDC can educate manufacturers and restaurants on proper food care as to lower the risk of further salmonella infections. A threat would be the development of antibiotic-resistant salmonella, which would make treating this infection a lot harder. Step 3. Prioritize core issues. So in 2014, a total of 115 people were infected with the outbreak strains of Salmonella enteritis reported from a total of 12 states. 25% of all ill persons were hospitalized. Luckily, there were no deaths reported. Manufacturers and distributors need to follow proper guidelines and regulations of food and product handling, so there wouldn't be any more salmonella infections. Another core issue is that bean sprouts must be cooked thoroughly to reduce the risk of salmonella infection. Cooking helps kill any harmful bacteria left on the food. Step 4. Analyze alternatives. So the case solution was to avoid bean sprouts and prohibit the distribution of bean sprouts from Wonton Foods Incorporated. A functionalism perspective is that we should consume different food sources rather than just bean sprouts. So my first approach is don't cross-contaminate. This means separating raw foods like raw chicken, poultry, and eggs from ready-to-eat foods. My second approach is to implement stricter inspection and guidelines of imported and exported produces. Step 5. Recommendations. My first recommendation is that children, seniors, pregnant women, and people with weakened immune systems should avoid raw sprouts, as infection in these certain individuals would lead to a lot more severe symptoms. My second recommendation is to cook sprouts thoroughly to reduce the risk of salmonella infection. Again, cooking helps kill any harmful bacteria left on the food. My third recommendation would be to meal prep or cook homemade meals to ensure safer food practices. By cooking in the kitchen at your own home, you have a lot more control over the variables and factors that come into making your own food. Step 6. The action plan. So in 2014, Wonton Foods Incorporated agreed to destroy their remaining products and conduct a thorough cleaning and sanitization, and implement other salmonella control measures. By 2020, I believe we should implement stricter regulations on food handling and processing. As a result, by 2030, there should be no deaths or very minimal deaths from salmonella outbreaks. Step 7, my opinion. So I personally sometimes eat bean sprouts as a side in my cultural Asian dishes like pho, which most people should know of. So before, I thought salmonella only affected meat, poultry, and eggs, but by doing this presentation, I now know that it affects a lot of produce. So I will be more cautious and thoroughly cook all my bean sprouts and vegetables to keep me and my family safe. So these are my references, and that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.